Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! I've been working at this company for 5 years now. Started as a junior analyst, I worked my way up to project manager. It's been a roller coaster, but I love my job. Well, most of the time. See, our office has this open door policy. It's supposed to promote communication and teamwork, but sometimes it feels like it's just an excuse for people to interrupt you whenever they feel like it. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for collaboration, but there's a time and place for everything. Lately, things have been hectic. We're in the middle of a big project, and there have been some unexpected hiccups. I'm talking late nights, weekend work, the whole 9 yards. And to top it off, I've got this coworker, let's call her Karen. Karen's a piece of work. She's been with the company longer than me, and she never lets anyone forget it. She's got this way of barging into conversations and taking over, always acting like her problems are the most important ones in the world. So here I am drowning in work trying to put out fires left and right, and Karen keeps popping in every 5 minutes with some urgent question or another. I swear if I hear "got a minute" one more time, I might lose it. This morning I decided enough was enough. I went to my boss's office and laid it out straight. Look, I'm really behind on this project. I need some uninterrupted time to catch up. I'm going to close my door for a few hours, okay? Sure, that's fine. Just make sure you're available if something urgent comes up. I nodded, then headed back to my office, closing the door behind me with a sigh of relief. Finally, some peace and quiet. Or so I thought. Not even 10 minutes later, there is a knock at my door. Before I can even say "come in," it swings open, and who's standing there? You guessed it, Karen. Hey, quick question about the Johnson account. I answer her question as quickly as I can, trying to keep my frustration in check. She leaves, but doesn't close the door all the way. I get up to close it, only for her to be back 15 minutes later. This happens 2 more times. Each time, I feel my productivity slipping away. It's like trying to build a house of cards in a wind tunnel. After the fourth interruption, I've had enough. I get up, close the door, and this time I turn the lock. The soft click as it engages is music to my ears. For about half an hour, I'm in a zone. I'm knocking out tasks left and right, feeling like I'm finally making progress. Then I hear it. The knock. Hello. The door is stuck. I hear the handle jiggling, then a thud as she tries to push it open. I can't help but smile a little. Hey, are you in there? The door won't open. Sorry, I'm in the middle of something important. Can it wait? But I need to ask you about. I'm sure it can wait an hour or two. I'll come find you when I'm done. But, Karen, please. I need to focus. I hear her huff and stomp away. Is it pity? Maybe a little. But sometimes you have to set boundaries. The rest of the afternoon is blissfully quiet. I managed to catch up on most of my backlog and even get ahead on a few things. When I finally unlock my door and emerge, Karen's waiting for me, arms crossed. That was very unprofessional, you know? What if there had been an emergency? Then you would have called my phone or emailed me, like we do for actual emergencies. Well, I never. Look, Karen, I respect that you have your own work to do, but so do I. And sometimes that means I need uninterrupted time to focus. From now on, if my door is closed, please email me unless it's truly urgent, okay? She splutters for a moment, then turns and walks away without another word. I know this probably isn't the end of it. There might be complaints to HR or passive aggressive comments in meetings, but you know what? It's worth it. Sometimes you have to be a little entitled to protect your own time and sanity. And if that means locking my door once in a while, well, so be it. I've always loved dogs, especially German Shepherds. They are smart, loyal, and make great family pets. So a few years ago, I took the plunge and got my first pair of breeding dogs. It wasn't easy at first. There was so much to learn about proper breeding practices, health checks, and raising puppies, but I was determined to do it right. I didn't want to be one of those kitschy backyard breeders. I wanted to raise healthy, well-socialized puppies that would bring joy to their new families. After a lot of hard work and a few failed attempts, my female dog finally had her first successful litter. 6 beautiful, squirming puppies. I was over the moon. I set up a cozy whelping area in my spare room, complete with a heat lamp and everything the new mama and her babies would need. As the puppies grew, I started advertising them for sale. I was careful about who I sold to, making sure the new owners were prepared for the responsibility of a German Shepherd puppy. Things were going great, and I had homes lined up for 5 of the 6 puppies. That's when I met Karen. She came to see the puppies when they were about 6 weeks old. Right from the start, something felt off about her. She showed up without an appointment, demanding to see the puppies immediately. I'm sorry, but I don't allow unscheduled visits. It's for the safety of the puppies and their mother. Do you know who I am? I'm a very important person in this town. You should be honored. I'm considering one of your puppies. I tried to stay polite even though her attitude was rubbing me the wrong way. I understand, but I have this policy for everyone. How about we schedule a time for you to come back? Fine. I'll be here tomorrow at 2 p.m. sharp, and you better have all the puppies ready for me to see. The next day, Karen showed up right on time. I introduced her to the puppies and their mother. Most people are charmed by puppies, but Karen seemed different. She was rough when handling them, ignoring my instructions on how to properly pick them up. I want this one. She pointed to the runt of the litter, the only puppy I hadn't found a home for yet. I'm sorry, but that puppy isn't available. She needs special care and isn't ready for a new home yet. Nonsense, I'm taking her. How much? As I said, she's not for sale. I am keeping her until she's stronger. That's ridiculous. I'm willing to pay top dollar. Name your price. It's not about the money. The puppy's health comes first. You're making a big mistake. You'll regret this. Was that she stormed out. I thought that was the end of it, but boy was I wrong. A few days later I had to run some errands. I made sure the puppies and their mother were secure in a spare room before I left. I was only gone for about an hour, but when I came back I knew something was wrong. The front door was slightly ajar. My heart racing, I rushed to the puppy room. The mama dog was going crazy, barking and whining. And there in the corner was Karen trying to stuff the runt puppy into her oversized purse. What the hell are you doing? Get out of my house. This puppy is mine now. You refused to sell her to me, so I'm taking matters into my own hands. Are you insane? That's breaking and entering and theft. Put the puppy down now. You can't tell me what to do. I always get what I want. And that's when things went from bad to worse. The mama dog, seeing her puppy in danger, lunged at Karen. Now let me tell you, an angry German Shepherd mama is not something you want to mess with. Karen screamed as the dog's teeth sank into her arm. She dropped the puppy, which thankfully landed safely on the soft bedding. Get this beast off me! I'll sue you for everything you've got. You broke into my house and tried to steal my puppy. You're lucky if I don't press charges. I managed to cool off the dog, but not before she gave Karen a few good bites. Karen was bleeding and crying, still trying to act tough, even though she was clearly terrified. You haven't heard the last of me. My husband's a lawyer. I will own this house when we're done with you. Get out now, or I'm calling the police. Karen limped out, still threatening me with lawsuits and revenge. I slammed the door behind her and locked it, my hands shaking. I couldn't believe what had just happened. I checked on the puppies and their mother. Thankfully, they were all okay. The little runt was a bit shaken up, but otherwise unharmed. I held her close, relieved that Karen hadn't managed to get away with her. For the next few days, I was on edge, waiting for the police to show up or to be served with lawsuit papers. But nothing happened. I guess Karen realized she didn't have a leg to stand on, legally speaking. I installed a security system after that. No way was I going to let someone like this happen again. And you know what? I ended up keeping that runt puppy. After everything she'd been through, I couldn't bear to part with her. Weeks passed and I thought the whole Karen incident was behind me. But then one day, while I was out walking my dogs, I saw her again. She was on the other side of the street, her arm in a cast. When she saw me, her face turned red. You and your vicious dogs ruined my life. I couldn't believe she had the nerve to confront me again. You broke into my house and tried to steal my puppy. You're lucky I didn't press charges. It wasn't stealing. That puppy should have been mine. And now look at me. I can't even use my arm properly. Maybe next time you'll think twice before breaking the law. There won't be a next time. I'm moving away from this horrible town. But mark my words, I'll make sure everyone knows about your dangerous, out of control dogs. Go ahead, tell them how you got those injuries while committing a crime. I'm sure that'll go over well. Karen stormed off. She had tried to bully her way into getting what she wanted, but it had backfired. As I walked home with my dogs, including the now growing runt puppy, I reflected on the whole crazy experience. It had been scary and infuriating, but in the end, it only reinforced my love for my dogs and a commitment to being a responsible breeder. The runt puppy who I'd started calling Lucky was growing stronger every day. She might have had a rough start in life, but she was turning into a beautiful, confident dog. Every time I looked at her, I was reminded of how close I came to losing her to Karen's entitlement. In the months that followed, my breeding business continued to thrive. Word got around about the crazy lady who tried to steal a puppy, and surprisingly, it actually helped my reputation. People saw me as someone who truly cared about the welfare of my dogs, willing to stand up to anyone who might mistreat them. I never saw Karen again after that day on the street. I heard that she had indeed moved away, presumably to terrorize some other unsuspecting community. Part of me felt sorry for her. What kind of life must she have to think it was okay to break into someone's home and steal a puppy? Lucky, the puppy at the center of all this drama, grew into an amazing dog. She was smart, loving, and had a special bond with me. I often wondered if she remembered anything about her near kidnapping. But if she did, it didn't seem to have affected her happy-go-lucky personality. Trust me, it's not worth tangling with an angry German Shepherd mama. Karen learned that lesson the hard way, and something tells me she won't forget it anytime soon. I grew up in a cramped two-story house, sharing the downstairs with my mom, stepdad, and three older brothers. Upstairs lived another family with four boys. It was a testosterone-filled environment to say the least. Living space was tight, my brother shared two rooms, while I was stuck in the middle with a tiny space barely bigger than a closet. But you know what? I made the best of it. While my brother's rooms looked and smelled like garbage dumps, I kept my little sanctuary neat and tidy. I even saved up and got myself a sweet TV setup. Pretty impressive for the mid-90s if I do say so myself. Life wasn't easy being the only girl in a house full of rowdy boys. My brothers were always roughhousing, leaving misses everywhere, and generally being inconsiderate jerks, but I dealt with it. I had my own space, my own rules. Or so I thought. One day I came home early from school and found something that made my blood boil. My oldest brother was sprawled on my bed, watching my TV, and cigarette butts and snack wrappers scattered around. The room reeked of sweat and other things I'd rather not think about. What the hell are you doing in my room? Chill out, sis. I'm just watching some TV. Get out now. He just laughed and took his sweet time leaving. After he was gone, I scrubbed every surface I could reach, but the violation of my privacy stuck with me. Over the next few weeks, I started noticing more and more signs that my brothers were using my room when I wasn't around. Rumbled bed sheets, moved furniture, mysterious stains. It was disgusting. The final straw came when I overheard my brothers talking about bringing girls to their secret hideout. I knew exactly what they meant, and I was furious. My tiny room, my one safe space in this chaotic house, was being used as some kind of love nest for my gross brothers. That's when I hatched my plan. I went to the hardware store and bought a bunch of flat-headed push pins, about 250 of them. Then I waited for a day when I knew I'd be out of the house for a while. That morning, I carefully placed the push pins under my bedsheet, covering the entire mattress. It took forever, but I made sure they were evenly spaced and well hidden. Then I went to school, my heart pounding with anticipation. The next day, my phone rang. It was my mom, and she was trying hard not to laugh. Sweetie, you're not gonna believe what happened. What's up, mom? Your brother finally got that girl from school to go out with him. You know, the one he's been chasing for weeks. Uh-huh. Well, apparently they came back here and let's just say things didn't go as planned. I could hear the laughter in her voice She explained how my brother and his date had rushed out of the house, both yelping in pain and covered in tiny puncture marks. My plan had worked perfectly. No one was seriously hurt, but my message was crystal clear. Stay out of my room. Mom tells me, I don't know what possessed you to do that, but I have to say, it was pretty clever. Thanks, Mom. I'm just glad no one got hurt. After that day, my room became off limits. My brothers never dared to enter without permission again. Even years later, my oldest brother admitted that he still checks chairs before sitting down, just in case. Looking back, I know it was a pity move, but when you're a teenage girl living in a house full of inconsiderate boys, sometimes you have to take drastic measures to protect your space. And let me tell you, the peace and quiet I enjoyed after that day made it all worth it. Sure, we had our issues growing up, but times heals most wounds. These days, my brothers and I get along great. We can even laugh about the pin incident now, but I bet they still think twice before invading someone else's personal space. A few months ago, I inherited my grandparents' home. It's an old house full of memories and in need of some serious work, but it's mine, and I was excited about the possibilities. That is until my father decided he wanted a piece of the pie. It started with a phone call. Hey, I've been thinking. Your stepmom and I could move into the house you inherited. What do you say? I don't think that's a good idea. We're planning to move in ourselves, but it's such a big house. We could all live there together. No, Dad, that's not going to work for us. I thought that would be the end of it, but clearly I was wrong. A week later, another call. I've left your stepmom. I'm coming to reconcile with you. I'll move in temporarily, just until I get back on my feet. Dad, we've talked about this. We're not comfortable with that arrangement. But I'm your father. You can't turn me away when I need help. I'm sorry, but our decision is final. He didn't take it well. He insisted on helping us move, which we declined. We're essentially estranged, and he's never really been a parent to me. He'd rather bond with my three stepsisters and their children than his only child and grandchild. Despite our refusal, he showed up a week before our move. He left my stepmom in a pretty cowardly way, drove off while she was doing laundry, leaving her without transportation. Then he parked himself on his property next to my inherited home, camping out in a small trailer. One day he called me in a panic. Water is pouring from under the house. I tell him, shut the water off. I'll get someone to look at it. It turned out a pipe had split and the water heater had busted during the winter. While dealing with this, a storm knocked out the power. My dad took it upon himself to enter the house using a spare key I had hidden for the plumber. When we finally arrived, he proudly announced, I've taken care of everything, sprayed for ticks, did pest control inside and out, the place is ready for you. I was livid but didn't react. Part of me wondered if he was finally trying to be a real dad. That illusion didn't last long. Over the next few weeks, we discovered he'd been stealing from us. Green dishware disappeared, only to show up in consignment shops around town. Every time we had contractors over for remodel bids, he'd show up uninvited and try to take over. During one of these visits, Dad says to the contractor, now, what you really need to do is, Dad, we've got this handled. He says condescendingly, Sweetie, you don't know the first thing about home repairs. Let me explain. My husband, usually the quiet type, had finally had enough. Sir, I think you need to mind your own business and show some respect to your daughter. How dare you speak to me like that? I'm just trying to help. Things only got worse from there. We noticed the propane heater had been tampered with. The pilot light was off and the dial was turned to a dangerous setting. When confronted, he denied everything. Now he is staying in an RV on his cousin's property, but still plans to put a tiny home on a land between me and my uncle. He shows up uninvited to family gatherings, leaving everyone uncomfortable but too afraid to confront him. The last straw was when he started leaving food on our doorstep with notes for my daughter. I throw it all away immediately. I had to warn our contractors about him and forbid him from being on the property during renovations. My husband wants to confront him about the stolen items, but I'm worried about retaliation. I never thought I'd say this, but I'm actually concerned he might vandalize the house my grandparents left me. As I write this, we're about to close on a sale of our old home and start the remodel on this one. I wish I had a happier update, but this is my reality now. I'm done being emotionally exhausted, and now I am just annoyed and cautious. I never imagined my own father would turn out to be the entitled nightmare you read about online. But here we are, and all I can do is protect my family and the legacy my grandparents left me.
And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.